Welcome to Popcorn Palace. We're actually live. I'm here with Steph. If you missed it, it'll be pasted on our Patreon, Popcorn Palace Patreon, where you can watch all of our extra videos, full streams, and so much more. It's the best way to support us over there. But hopefully you guys caught our first part over on Popcorn Planet. If you're coming from there, thank you. Welcome to the Popcorn Palace channel. Make sure to subscribe here and to Steph's channel. Steph the Alternator. We're both getting our way to 100,000 subscribers, and these two channels will be your destination for daily royalty. But Steph, I know you didn't get to really watch part 2 of the interview. At the end of part 1 on Good Morning America, the host teased, join us for our second hour for more with Prince Harry, and I have that portion here for you now. Now, full warning, they don't really do anything interesting. It's more a complete puff piece on Invictus Games, but I got a lot of thoughts on this because GMA didn't ask any questions about their charity, and particularly the watchdog ratings of all the things that they are not providing, all the questions we have, the problems with this charity. I wish GMA would have asked some tougher questions, but guess what? We will, because that's what we do, right, Steph? We don't leave any stone unturned. We pressure these guys like no other. So we'll get to that in a second. But before we get to the issues of, is there a fraudulent use on Archwell and Invictus Games? What's going on over there? Let's start this part 2. What's most telling to me, Steph, is how much they edited around Meghan, who now is known as Duchess Meghan. She's dropped her last name, Markle. She has her own now persona as Duchess Meghan, and that's what they call her as in this whole piece. But they really edited around her and did not focus on her. I'm curious, Steph, do you think that was GMA sort of being sick of her? Do you think that was a request from them? It's hard to imagine Meghan wouldn't have wanted more camera time, but are you surprised to hear that they actually didn't really focus on her much?
I'm not surprised because she'll want something all by herself as well.
Yeah.
She won't want to share the interview with Hazza in that respect. She'll want a one-on-one with Meg's interview with GMA herself.
Yeah, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't tape one, right? And then they're saving that for a future episode. We have our exclusive interview with Princess Meghan, with Duchess Meghan Markle, her new podcast initiative. Yeah, you're right. There's probably, she's saving that piece for later, and they probably double dipped and got all that at the same time to really maximize the grift. They are good at it. I can't deny. They know how to play that game. But here they are. Let's watch.
While the cameras here are focused on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, make no mistake, they're not the ones taking center stage.
These guys. Bullshit. I'm going to call bullshit right away.
Yeah, right? Right?
They're not the ones taking center stage. Looks like they're the ones taking center stage. There's a whole bit about Harry's like, I wouldn't be here if I couldn't partake myself. Like, he can't step back and let these veterans shine. It's got to be Harry and Meghan always. So calling bullshit right out the gate.
As the stars of the show.
And as they
here are the stars of the show.
Step on the mountain in Whistler, Canada.
Who are the stars? I'm so unclear who the veterans are. They're this nondescript people they don't really get to show a lot of. It's so weird.
Staff, instructors, and future competitors.
Andy.
Yes.
The thing is that actually that's not surprising really in the grand scheme of things, because watching Heart of Invictus, the first like 2-3 episodes of it was really all about Hazza anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't really much about the veterans. So yeah, not surprised. Again, it's all about them. And, you know, I've been reporting on my own channel that, you know, a lot of the crew in the Invictus organization is sick and tired of these two because of the fact that, you know, the spotlight is on them rather than the spotlight being on the people that really need it and deserve it, which is the veterans.
Yeah, like when the Special Olympics happen, there's not always some celebrity host that's always there taking the credit for it. You know what I mean? It's about the games. And sometimes there's a celebrity ambassador that year or some other person shows up to help raise awareness. Sure. But Harry and Meghan have made it their like whole job to always be there, always partake and always wave. And it's just, it's like too much.
The 2025 Invictus Games.
Hi, nice to see you. How are you?
There's a noticeable glint in Harry's eye.
When you have...
Yeah, because there's cameras there.
Yeah, right?
Like, come on, let's call it what it is.
These moments of connection as you're going around meeting folks, what's it doing for them and what's it doing for you?
It's my fix. Once you leave the military from a uniform standpoint, you never leave the community. And to have the games every other year, but then also be able to do a 1 year to go event as well is literally my annual fix, to be in amongst this community and have a laugh, have fun, no matter which nation they're from. The banter's the same.
His fix, Steph, right?
No. His fix ain't the freaking Invictus Games, all right? His fix, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, is all
his mushrooms from Courtney Cox's fridge.
All right, in spare. That's his freaking fix, guys. I'm sorry, but oh my goodness, you don't think he's on some kind of weed or shrew, whatever it is?
Something.
Come on.
Something to deal with that wife.
A little bit diluted, right?
Yeah, of course. It's the mushrooms from Courtney Cox's fridge. It's something. That's his fix. 100%. Agreed. But yeah, his fix is feeding off of the veterans and getting all this attention. He doesn't even realize what it sounds like, because it is. He's feeding off of the energy and the press and all this stuff, and it just shows he's not really doing anything. He's just taking advantage, in my opinion.
I get a lot of energy just from being around these guys.
Harry giving GMA
He gets a little bit of energy.
an exclusive preview of the first ever Winter Invictus Games. A year from now, more than 500 wounded service members from all over the globe will be in Whistler and Vancouver, competing in events including alpine skiing and the high-speed skeleton.
You wouldn't believe the number of people that have signed up to throw themselves headfirst on a tray down an ice luge. No.
So here, just to pause because I'm confused. And here's Harry again driving the handicapped ski chair. It's so weird to me. But so he has all these wounded veterans who are like basically signing up to win a golden ticket to do a luge, who haven't done it before. Like, it's all just so weird to me. So these injured vets are potentially going to get injured. Who's teaching them? How are they getting like enough actual training? Like typically these types of events are for like Olympic athletes who do this stuff regularly. You know what I mean, Steph? So what on earth are these veterans? They're going to show up a couple times, do it, and then now it doesn't even make sense. This whole like winter thing seems like it's way too advanced and fancy for what the games is supposed to be about, which is like, people doing, regular track and field and other things that most people are used to or can practice at home. How do you practice this? How do you get good at this? I don't even understand it. It feels like this elite sport and whole thing where he's like, I want to take them to the slopes. So we'll just figure out how to do that. And this whole event clearly is them trying to me, as I watch this is a commercial to sponsors. Like, hey, look, don't you want to sponsor all these 500 wounded veterans doing exciting skiing games? Like, do you know what I mean, Steph? This is clearly a year before it happens. We need a piece to go show sponsors to say, look, give us your free money so we can use it to go do it myself. Do you get the same vibe?
I do get the same vibe. This is an advert for more sponsors. We do know from reports that the Invictus Games Whistler Vancouver 2025 is over budget already. With these two clowns, are we really that surprised? And the Invictus organization has actually been asking for donations to help fund the games. So yeah, I really, really do think that they are desperate for more money to make this a success. And this is the organization's first winter games. They're trying to be the alternative Special Olympics, right? And it's just really not working because their money management, as far as I'm concerned, is extremely poor. They flew here on private jet, but they didn't pay for it. Who paid for it? Any conspiracy theory, whatever. Invictus organization paid for it, right? A lot of stuff they're getting is being paid for by the Invictus organization.
So we think.
They hold in like $4,000 plus a night freaking hotels.
Alleged, but yes, yeah.
It's the Invictus Games that's paying for it.
Who is paying for it? Right, that's the fair question. I think is what I agree. It sure looks like the Invictus Games, and it sure looks like Harry and Meghan justify their appearances as expenses for it, right? So who is paying? If they're not, then who is? I think that we should be able to know that. And just to clarify, like look, skiing is expensive is what I mean. Like when I don't go skiing, because going to a resort, getting the lift tickets, getting the skis, it's an expensive hobby. It's not for everybody. And so it just feels weird to me. Like, well, how is this happening? I can't imagine this is that regular to do. It's also seasonal in certain areas. Just the whole thing just feels elitist to me and just strange. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base on that, but here we go. Let's keep watching them get ready to throw veterans down luge hills.
Harry even trying adaptive sit skiing.
This is Peacemaker.
Hi, Peacemaker.
We met competitors like Peacemaker from Nigeria, who used this preview as a chance to get used to the slopes.
Peacemaker, what time did you get here today?
Yeah, it was like 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it's now
The
3:30.
lifts are closed, man. We gotta.
Are you excited to have Team Nigeria up here?
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very happy.
Then there are instructors like
They just trotted that guy in front. Be like, so you've been stuck on this ski slope on this chair all day. Did he even get to practice? Like, who brought him there? Who's paying for it? He's just there as a prop. Here's another prop.
Alex, a Paralympic skier.
What does it mean to you to be able to teach these guys skiing, adaptive skiing for the first time?
It's normalizing a bit of a hidden world of disabilities. The more people that know about what we do, the better.
It's proving to people that this is possible no matter what your disability is.
For so many of the service members, these games are about finding meaning after devastating loss.
Why do the Invictus Games need to exist?
You know, the Invictus Games gives you purpose again, you know, something to train.
Look, I'm not trying to negate this, Steph. There's clearly a good purpose behind this. Like, let me be clear. Like the idea of helping wounded veterans, giving them an opportunity to do this. I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. But it's hard to not see it through the grift, like, and the marketing. Like, who is this guy talking right now? Why aren't we? Who are these people?
For something to look forward to. For me, it doesn't matter whether I win a medal or not. What matters is putting in the time to train, just to compete, and you know, have that.
That's Ivan Morea. Okay, he's
and you know,
active duty.
Family.
With the help of a phone to translate, we saw that firsthand with this Ukrainian competitor.
What brought you here to Whistler?
I am here to help my brothers who are currently wounded in Ukrainian hospitals.
When you hear that, what does
Look at
that
him
do for
smiling.
you?
Harry's like, good soundbite, huh? Look at this Ukrainian prop I brought in because of the war. Like, that was so weird. He's like, did you see that smile? Like, what the fuck?
Emotions.
Yeah.
You know, it's
And then they don't even make eye contact with her after.
It's not lost on any of us. The thousands of Ukrainians that are being injured now.
Harry says
This like Ukrainian prop is sitting there as person as a prop who reveals that, gets the soundbite, and then they just go blah 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 blah. They don't translate it for her. They don't try to engage with her. They just move on to the next one.
Significant to him is the meaning the games bring to everyone involved.
It's not just about the individual.
Right.
Right. Everyone pays a lot of attention, rightly so, to the person who's been injured. So once that person gets injured, actually the whole family gets injured because their lives are changed, turned upside down forever.
100%.
You've got to provide the resources and the opportunities and the platform for them to be able to heal themselves, because they heal themselves and the whole family heals. So to me, that is without doubt the most rewarding piece to all of this.
There was a permeating sense of gratitude on the mountain this whole week, especially from the competitors who get to participate in this event that brings them such meaning and purpose, and gratitude from Harry to get out and be among the people he has such fellowship and history with, and to go do the work that means so much to him and to his legacy, guys.
The Invictus Games are just so incredible. Thank you so much, Will.
They're so incredible. There you go. Puff piece from GMA, Steph. There it is. This part of the interview is sort of like required to get the other part of the interview, which is Harry talking about his father. Like, I'm sure this was all negotiated, and like, we're going to do a piece about the veterans and we're going to do a 2-part thing. They make sure to button out all the details. And so the second part was the Puff piece about it. And look, it's hard to talk negatively about it, Steph, because I don't want to seem like I'm, you know, degrading the veterans or saying it's not helpful. It's just, I really don't like Harry's portion of it. It really feels like he's using these veterans as props to lift himself up and get the attention. And that's what bothers me. Thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah. It's a criticism that has carried on now for a while, that both Hazard and Megzy are grifting off of the veterans to improve their own PR, improve their own status, improve their own popularity, thinking that they can you know, use the veterans, hide behind the veterans, and be like, no, you can't criticize us because look at what we're doing for the veterans, this, that, and the other. As far as I'm concerned, they're not doing anything for the veterans. They're doing naff all. The end of the day, the majority of that interview, majority of that part about the Invictus Games was Hazard talking. We heard more from Hazard in that part of the Invictus Games segment thing for this interview than we did from the actual veterans themselves. Again, proving that as far as I'm concerned, all that Hazard and Megzy are worried about is the spotlight being on them rather than the veterans. If they were so concerned and so happy to try and promote the veterans, lift them up this, that, and the other, they would have given more camera time, more airtime to the veterans than to them. And they didn't do that. It was just little sound bites here and there, and the rest of it was all Hazard.
Yep. Yep.
Done.
Yeah, it's all just frustrating because again, it is a good cause. I hate to even like seem like we're belittling this cause. Like it's a good cause, but I don't trust him. I don't trust him, and I don't. It's hard to not see the marketing that he's doing for himself. It's just. To me, we've learned and uncovered too much about him. And again, just like we showed in the first part, the fact that he used his father and the whole way he talked about it just to get people to come show up to this event is frustrating to me. He shouldn't have to resort to it if he was so powerful and this event was as important as it is. But it's also him trying to make more money for the event. I just don't believe they're spending the money wisely. I don't. I'd love to look into the books on this actual charity of where the funds go. It just feels like it's not really helping as much as he claims to be. He's using the backs of these veterans, and I'm sure some of them have great experiences, and that's happening. But I don't know if it's worth the amount of positive that Prince Harry gives himself. And it's hard to not assume that some of it's not monetary. Because again, the real reason I'm annoyed is when we look at the Archewell Watchdog charity page, which we alluded to in the beginning, they don't give a full rating because it needs to be there for 3 years. So stay tuned. I guess in a year or two, they'll be able to give more proper analysis. But they won't respond to requests for financials. They've contacted via email, Postal Service requesting copies of its most recent IRS filings and audited financial statements. As of 2024, the charity has not responded. Should it provide these documents, we may obviously adjust our profile. They talk about the major drops in donations, but this was, they talk about they don't know who their major donors are, even though they're trying to find that out. But they admitted to inadequate governance and transparency with their tax filings, saying it's audited by independent accountants. However, they've been unable to locate these copies of these audits on its website or public databases. In addition, charity has yet to respond to the request for the document. Again, this is all supposed to be public. This is a charity, right? Non-for-profit, has transparency. You know better than I, Steph. So, right? I mean, these charities are supposed to open up their books and make it very clear and transparent so they can be, rated and properly checked out. Correct?
Correct. And to my knowledge, in terms of the law, when it comes to UK charity law, there's the UK Charity Act. To my knowledge, but do your own research on this. Based on what the Charity Watch is saying here, if Archewell Foundation was based in the UK, I think they'd be breaking the law. Based on their, inadequate governance and transparency, not making available, certain documents, certain financials. I mean, one of the key things when it comes to charities in the UK is that when you make a donation to a charity, the charity has to be absolutely transparent as to where that money is going to go to. Thing is, you donate to the Archewell Foundation, you don't know where that money is going to. They're not transparent in that. They're not transparent in terms of where the money really goes, as far as I'm concerned. They're not transparent in terms of providing the necessary documentation to make public so that the public are aware in terms of how the charity operates so that the public can make an informed decision as to whether they're going to actually donate to Archewell Foundation or not. The most shocking of all, really, in the grand scheme of things, is that when you do look at their more recent IRS 990 charity form, that they list those two donors, right, for their last charity tax year that they submitted. But they're not saying who those donors are and where that money came from. And that is extremely concerning. Why? Well, if you don't say where that money's come from, or don't give an indication or anything like that, then you open yourself up, as far as I'm concerned, to certain questions. Is this money being laundered? Is this money coming from a source that is extremely questionable? I mean, you can even go so far as to, you know, because it is my degree in international relations and security studies, you could go as far as to say, you know, unless they really tell us, you could even question, look, is this coming from terrorist organizations? Again, question, not a statement, you know? Until they tell us where that money is coming from and the source of that money is extremely questionable.
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of speculation, and again, speculation, not a statement of fact, that Archewell is being used as some kind of money laundering. Archewell is being used to fund the Sussex's lifestyle in order to, you know, for them to pay less tax. Things like that, you know? Whether that's true or not, again, we don't know. Do your own research, of course. This is all speculation. But yeah,
but they're valid questions.
Foundation is just so dodgy and so murky. It is unreal. And part of it is because of the lack of transparency.
Right. This isn't like we're asking them to open up their personal finances. We're asking them to talk about that's the problem, though. Their personal and business and charity are all intertwined through Archewell Productions and foundations, and it's confusing. But the not-for-profit portion of it, we are supposed to be able to have access to. So, and they're not giving that very much. They give these weird filings. We saw they lost money, but still it's unclear what else is going on here. So yeah, look, these are all valid questions, and it's frustrating that someone like GMA didn't ask the tougher questions, didn't ask about what about giving up your titles, all of this stuff. Clearly they're not gonna, but I would have loved to have heard him try to defend it. That's for sure. But there it is. That's part one. Part two, check out part one if you missed it over on Popcorn Planet. Make sure you subscribe here to Popcorn Palace, as well as Steph the Alter Nerd for all your insight and daily royalty. We got some more time here to be live. If you missed the live, well then become a Popcorn Patreon. You'll be able to join over there, catch all the full replays and also extra videos and things that you may have missed. And so make sure to support over there. It's the best way to support the channel. We got a lot of you watching. We're going to take your questions. We got some more to talk about. So don't go anywhere if you're watching live. If you're watching on the replay, well, make sure you hit that subscribe like I told you. Hit the bell for all alerts. Smash that thumbs up like it's Harry's face, as Carbonized Artist said, and leave your comments down below. What do you think? Are you surprised? Do you think he's using this charity unjustly? Let us know in the comments.